HammerTimers. This is our PubCast, the HammerTimers PubCast, and this is our 16th video, and we have some special guests here, Luis and Daryl. They are here because we are going to speak about foreigners in the Hungarian wargamer society. So guys, my first question is, when did you start to play? And what was your first wargame?
I'll let you go.
Luis?
I go first. I started playing, what was it, 3 years ago?
Yes.
Because of this guy and another friend of mine. Before I used to play a lot of role-playing games. I was never really into wargaming, but then, I was in a dark place of role-playing and lost and without guidance, and then, a couple of good friends showed me the light, and they friendly gifted me a box of Age of Sigmar, and I started my 9-count army. So that's how I started.
Ah, so it was in Age of Sigmar in the first.
Yes, it was Sigmar.
Yeah. For me, it's a much longer journey. I actually started wargaming with Warhammer Fantasy back in the old war. So I started there. I started by being gifted pieces of an army. I had a good friend who played Lizardmen, and he had bits and bobs of Skaven. And if you know anything of the old Lizardmen and Skaven, they hated each other. So that's how I got into this. And with the little blocks and moving them around like that. And then I've been wargaming since then for about, 10, 12 years now. So.
Yeah. And what was the society in your home country? You are from the US, Daryl?
Yes.
And you are from
Brazil.
Brazil.
Yes.
What is it in Brazil, for example?
Well, I have no idea. I mean, not the wargaming society, because I started wargaming here in Hungary, so that's an interesting thing. But after that, I started looking on what's happening in my home country. They have a pretty good society up there. Not that I was part of, unfortunately, because I think I would love to have this hobby as a kid. My dad, not that much, because he would have to pay for all the models. But wargaming is something that ticks all the boxes for me. We have high fantasy, we have sci-fi, we have the kind of the tactical way. I used to love tactical and strategy games when I was a kid. So unfortunately, just after I got the cage, that I started playing the game. But I mean, I can tell a little bit about the role-playing society, because it's pretty strong within my friends, and we used to play a lot. But the wargaming, unfortunately, is not really my special thing down there.
I see. And Daryl?
Well, as you know, in the States, there's a big community of competitive wargaming going on. Adepticon, the Nova Open, lots of that kind of stuff going on. So the competitive scene's there. The hobbyist side is very big there. Painting, it's a big thing. But if you go more narrow into the friend groups, to local gaming stores, what you'll find is it's very relaxed. And I had a friend group who we constantly cycled through, from Warhammer 40k to Fantasy to Armada to X-Wing to this. Not even each new flavor of the month, but each new gaming system as we get tired of one, we would roll into another one, play it for a while, and then come back to another, and have these big epic cycles. And you'll find that a lot in the States. People want to play with their toys, and they make these big groups, and they all play together and intermingle. There are the typical people, the spikes and things like that, the tryhards, the people who take the hardest as they can. But a lot of times, the community is all about fun between each other, making that narrative, making that epic play, making that crazy fight that you just didn't think you would succeed, and it happening and then telling it for days and days and weeks and months later. So honestly, it's the states are so huge. I can't speak for all of them, but in general, you'll find competitive local gaming stores, and you'll find more narrative, more fun gaming stores, and you'll be able to find whichever one you need if it's your gaming society or gaming needs.
Cool. And are there any differences between the society in your home country and in the Hungarian society?
I'll fill this one first.
Yeah, go for it.
Considering you know the role-playing aspect of it, and for me, the biggest difference that I've found is pickup games more than anything else. Hungarians love themselves a good appointment. If you don't make an appointment with a friend at least a week and a half in advance and double check 5 days before, you're not gonna get a game in sometimes. Other times I'm like, oh man, I have a free up Saturday. I'll see if he might be able to game. No, that's not the chance. But as far as mentality of playing, of creating good games, I haven't met much of a difference. I've met some tryhards, certainly some salty foes who just want the best thing and get super upset whenever they don't get it. But that's everywhere. You're not going to avoid that.
Yes, so, of course.
Yeah. But in general, there's a good balance here, especially at Hammer Time, of competitive players, of narrative players, and mixing and matching, and being able to jump between them. I haven't met anybody who I've been like, I'm not going to play against that guy or that person because of an attitude that they had. So. I mean,
what I can tell about the difference is scale for sure.
Yeah.
Because we have, and I think it will be the same for America. We have like huge countries.
Yeah.
And Hungary is like a small little country in comparison.
It's definitely smaller, yes.
So
yeah,
like,
very much, yeah.
Yeah. What I was experiencing I mean, it has a positive side and a negative side to it.
The hearsay and the friendly banter that goes between, like, especially in Hungary, I feel like we hear about like bad players or people.
Yeah, I mean, okay, if we're talking about the small scale, that's a pretty good stuff because everything is accessible. Like, if you want a game, you are close to the community.
Yeah.
Even if you live in the countryside, like it's not that far for you to like let's go to Budapest and have some games in maybe on the weekend or something like that. So the community is way more accessible. The only problem is that the community is also small because of its scale compared to the population of the country. In Brazil, it's a little bit more complicated because if you find a community, not always they're gonna be around you. So depending on where you live, it's gonna be a really big hustle to go somewhere and to have a game, or if you cannot really have your friends, or even to access the minis, the model, the materials for you to play, it's a little bit more complicated. And even on my case, for me, like I had a bunch of friends that were straight nerds, and I love them, and I was one of them, of course. And we used to play a lot of Magic the Gathering. We used to play a lot of RPGs, but Warhammer and these wargaming things, we kind of heard about it, but it was something like outside. Like we never had a Warhammer store in my city or close to my city, and so it was something that never really.
It compounds the difficulty of access.
Yeah.
Right? Like whereas in Hungary, there's a couple main city centers, and most of those, Győr, Budapest, some places down in the south, I know, have access to the materials of the games. Whether it be army kits, carrying bags, things like that, you need to be able to. So the ease of access
Yeah.
to get into the games in rural areas, especially in rural like Tennessee and I'm assuming in Brazil also. It's compounded. Not only do you have to find a place that sells at a relatively decent price that you can get to at a reasonable hour. Then you have to be able to figure out how to order what you want to have.
Yeah.
You might not be able to test things out,
Yeah,
talk to
yeah.
people. So it just makes it so much more difficult.
Yeah, and you can not only order for yourself, but you also need to your whole group of friends to engage into that. Otherwise, you're just gonna have an army with nobody to
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
So it's complicated. In another side, if you find the community, if you're close to the community is big.
Yes.
So and it's like
It's tight knit.
Yeah.
Because
So
it just builds upon itself.
yeah.
in this
So
country.
if you go to the big cities, you know, like they have the stores, they have the community set up, they have the conventions going on. So if you're close to that, you're pretty, you know, like in a really good place. You're pretty set. If you're not, then it's complicated.
I would say Budapest in general and a lot of Hungary is set up for ease of that because Budapest is kind of central. So and it's public transport and things like that makes it easy to get access to it, and you can get in there and you can find it, and there is a good, well-established community here.
Yeah.
So even if you come in and you do a little bit, if you leave, somebody in Budapest probably lived where you live and knows people who still live there and have the games, so they can hook you up. So you get that little in there, and it's a little bit easier. So Hungary itself, I feel the community built itself easier to allow access.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but
There are advantages here. I mean, Budapest is pretty central to the country, so everybody can access, and you know, like it's a place where everything it's here. You can find it.
Yeah.
The people are here. The structure is here. And even on some places on the countryside, I've never been gaming on the countryside, but you know, like you hear that there are stores in a couple of cities, which is pretty cool because people can access that.
They are kind of smaller than, for example, the HammerTime Cafe.
Yeah.
But
you can get the boxes, you know, like the models and everything, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it's still hard for Hungarians to reach communities. I mean, bigger communities to play with.
I find a counter argument to the praise that we've been giving. I will say that there is layers to this community, and there are certain layers that don't mix. Like we've had a few times in a couple of narrative crusades or campaigns where somebody who's super spiky and super competitive loses out on some bad dice rolls, on being ganged up on narratively and things like that, and they can't reconcile that, and they separate. So there is, but if you want to get into it and be part of the gaming community, there is part of that community somewhere here for you, and you can have some kind of connection to it, and that's what's great.
Yeah. I mean, it ties up a little bit with that scale problem, because the community is small if you compare it to you know, like to other places. You know, like it's hard to these kind of differences within the community, I think that they're gonna show up more because you know, like
less people to actually
So but still, I mean, I think you can really have like find your not only, you know, the community itself, but your group of players, because you know, like war gaming is a complex. It's a complex game because you can enjoy different ways.
Yes.
You know, like there are people that are you know, for the competition. They want the optimized list. They want, you know, like the everything meta 100%, and they want to, you know, like win championships and take the medals home. Other people, they just want to, you know.
I made my army, man. I want to play with it.
They just want to, you know, like build cool models and have an excuse to put them on the table to, you know, like show off in a way, or you know, like just have fun. Those are two like extremes of, you know, like, let's say the hobby. So, but yeah, I mean that's the cool thing about it, in my opinion. If you know, like whatever you like about it, it has like you can find your group within. So that's the difficulty of finding a community, finding your group inside of the community, and I think here in Hungary, because of like scale in one. It's one thing. I mean, there are other factors. It helps a lot.
It's a very homey scale, I would say.
Yeah.
It's not big city, vast multiple gaming stores, playing at the things or whatever. It's not very distant. It's a nice. I feel like it's a nice middle ground of it.
Yeah, it has a family feeling. If I can put it like that.
All family. Yeah.
So I mean, like everything is there, but also if there's any kind of conflict, like it's just like when you fight with your cousin. Like on the next family gathering, he's gonna be there. And he's gonna have to deal with that somehow. And sometimes it can be a little bit
awkward.
Awkward. But I think it's something that it's an issue that is particular. Well, not only to here, but any place where there's a small community. Even in big countries, if you go to a small town, they have a wargaming community there. It's something that they need to deal with as well. To learn how to include the different perspectives and the different approaches of the gaming, and to grow as a community. With understanding, with a couple of concessions, and trying to give a little bit of everybody wants. It's kind of it's kind of relating to a role play, like being a DM in a role like in a D&D session. So like everybody plays differently, and you just have to make it work.
Yes. We try to. How to say? We try to be here for both. So for fun players, for competitive players too, and to make them be friends and stuff.
But you say you laugh at it, but it's a good sign of a good, healthy community and good gaming center that provides opportunities for every type of gamer, and not necessarily there's some overlap, and there's no begrudging of like, oh, you've only done tournaments, you can't come join our crusade match. I mean, I've jumped into the small points tournaments multiple times, and I don't know what I'm doing in a tournament. Like, you put down the actual like rules and secondaries for a tournament, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with this. Why is this an action? What? I do crusade. Why don't I get these buffs? But there's not a lot of gatekeeping. I think that's the most important thing. There's not a lot of gatekeeping, and HammerTime does a really good job of being a central location to allow transference from like the role-playing days to tabletop wargamings, back down to Malefax, to we had Commander here for a while, so it's open for transitions a lot. So
we try to do our best, for sure. And about our community, just to see how nice we are here. Today we have Warhammer 40k Day for Beginners in the background. Ben the Goose is leading it.
And he's doing a great job. I peeked over and there's some really cool combats happening over there. So they seem to be really having fun.
Yes, and we have 15 participants.
Oh, that's
15 beginners. And we have only 2 armies to use, to rent. And some other players around who are more advanced players said that, you can use our armies if you want. We finished. We can give them to you to play, or you can join us. You can join us and see our playing, and we surely give some advices and comments about what we are doing here. They're so nice.
So many times when we've been playing, and somebody and I've done it too, who will just stop at a table and be like, Wow, that's a great paint job. What's going on here? That looks like a cool. And then they'll ask questions. Nope, I've never. There's a few people who I've seen come in who've been a little bit nervous to ask about things, but most of the time, everybody who comes in feels comfortable enough to ask what's going on with that game or with that army or what's going on and happening. So
yeah, and that's a cool factor. I mean, because it's important. It's extremely important for any kind of community to be welcoming to beginners. To be, you know, like an open community that is going to receive the beginners and is going to, you know, like teach them, because, you know, like wargaming, it's complex. You know, like,
Indeed, it is.
you
You
come as a beginner and you see, you know, like you see those really cool models on the table, but people starts to, you know, like talk gibberish. And
even worse,
you know, like
even worse, Hungarians come in with limited English.
Yeah.
And all the rules are in English, and all we're doing is speaking specific. It's like going
Hunglish.
to Hunglish. Well,
Hunglish.
we speak these rules, and it's like going into a lawyer's office of another language and expecting to understand them telling you about what's happening. It doesn't make sense.
So my superior dread knight is gonna plasma gun your, you know, like,
and it's gonna explode on its head. And what? No, there's only 6 dice.
So it's important to, you know, like be welcoming and be open to beginners, and it's great to see that, you know, like people are opening to lend their armies and to lend their time and to lend their expertise.
Yes.
Because that's what makes the community grow. People to feel accepted, to, you know, like enter the hobby, the gaming community, and that's what's gonna make the community grow and become stronger, you know, like and more, you know, positive towards each other.
And I'm sure like all the listeners have like experiences with this, like having come in, you know, the one time like they needed to know about something and they were a little nervous to ask. It's amazing. This community is very welcoming and very eager to, like, oh, you want to play? Well, come on in, buddy.
You're in for a ride. Yeah.
You've
The
done
fresh meat.
we aren't gonna scare you off, but the prices might.
Well, yes.
Not here, but like, I mean in general for wargaming, it's an expensive hobby. Start out with something small. Get a kill team.
Get a kill team, yes.
I mean, it does add to the cost. I mean, that's another thing of the wargaming, that it's like you should able to provide an affordable solution for people to start with. You cannot say, oh, you're a beginner. Fantastic. Next week we have a 2,000 point, you know, like tournament. Join in. You need a painted army and so, you know,
you have 3 kids in no time, and you walk out. Here, let me recommend to you Tyranids. Have you heard of a Hammer Grunt? Have 200 of them.
Yeah.
No. And that's another thing. You don't want bad advice either. You don't want people pushing.
Oh
you.
yeah.
So, but I feel like we're getting off on a little bit of a tangent here. Is there anything else you would like to know before we?
No. We took it over now.
It's a
welcome to the
to the new podcast.
Yeah, be careful.
You're gonna kill me here.
You just noticed. This is what I have to do when I run you in D&D.
Yeah.
It's a really professional set, you know.
Yes, we have a small decoration here, of course, and our coat farms. But don't worry about it. It's just chatting. We are just chatting freely, so speak as much as you want.
Don't say that, because we have and we will.
I know, but it's a good thing if you can speak. We have a lot of things to speak. So. So as I can see, you have good experiences with the Hungarian community in general. But at the beginning, did you have any difficulties, like language difficulties or anything else?
Let's not open the language bag. Let's not open the Hungarian language bag. I'm not saying
just
the
don't
language.
Speak about the language.
Okay. Yes and no. I'm gonna say that. I mean, yes, because it's okay. We live in a country. We don't really speak 100% Hungarian.
Like 5%.
You're pretty good.
I've studied.
So it is of course a conflict, but it's not something that, you know, me personally, I don't know about Daryl. even when I meet people that don't really speak English that much, we make it work.
Yeah.
You know, like it's good. It's good that most of the wargaming, Warhammer, Sigmar vocabulary, it's standard. So there's no translations for primarily Space Marine. Everybody calls it Space Marine. So we can make it work even, you know, like if we're missing some words in the sentence or our grammar is not right. And you know, like I had a lot of people coming to my table and they wouldn't really speak any Hungarian, but they usually call a friend to translate for them. And even if the translator doesn't speak that well, but they want to check the models, and then of course, you know, you give the models and you try to, you know, like communicate with whatever word or activity kind of. So
pantomiming is. I will give it to Hungarians. Most Hungarians I meet who can't speak English are great pantomimers, and like they speak with the Italian hand signs, but with a little bit more flourish and bits and pieces.
What does this word mean? This phanta? You use for the Hungarian speakers who speak English.
Pantomime. It means it's miming, and like, oh, you know, he shoots you, or when you talk with your hands and you act out the thing. So
pantomime. Oh, okay. I got pantomime. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
This is example, you know, like you
what
make
happens.
it work.
and if you don't,
Also, I've just demonstrated it. Okay.
and that's our show, folks. Glad you watched. Have a good time. Go shoot some Primary Space Marines in the face. Nobody likes those guys, especially the Ultramarines. Anyway, Hungarians are really good with piecing together and pausing for the words. And the Hungarian grammar is so strict that I think even Hungarians who don't have good English, they put things in a certain order and you can piece it together. I've had numerous times when kids who don't speak any English have come up to our games and I've been looking at it and I'm like, hey, do you want to play? Here's a dice, 3 and hand signs, and like they can get it and they can play. And like Louis said, a lot of grammar in wargaming and in role-playing is universal, somewhat, or memeable, or common enough that I can listen to somebody speaking a bunch of Hungarian and understand that he's talking about trying to charge here and advance here. I don't know those words in Hungarian. Like if there's a specific one that they're using in a common tongue, but I can tell by his motions and by a couple of key words that he has to use in English what his intentions are. So,
and I mean the structure of the game also helps a lot because you know that, you know, like the phases and the turns and, you know, like what comes after. Like so you can make it work pretty well.
I think the hardest thing is it sounds mean, but there are some Hungarians who have a very thick accent, even when they speak English. And it comes from some of the sounds that Hungarians make. Nothing against you, but it makes it some words are hard to understand. And that can get...
Well, it's hard to understand for us too, to understand your accent too.
No
sometimes,
worries.
Darius, so...
I'm even worse because I can speak super fast when I get excited about something, and that makes it terrible.
And that is the moment when we say, Daryl, please stop, slower, please. We don't understand you.
Daryl, go out. Go out, you're too excited. Yes. But it's not, it just takes a couple like, wait, what? I didn't quite get that. And there's been some miscommunication in games. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's what you meant. Okay. And we can transition from there. So like we don't hold misunderstandings and misinterpretations. I've never met any player here who has like held it against another player like, wait, I didn't know you could do that. Well, I said that this way. That's what you said. I didn't quite get it, but I nodded and said, do you mind if I, readjust this one choice that I've made here? I'm not going to change my whole battle plan. Yeah, sure. I don't know about in the tournaments. I'm assuming that'll be a little bit more cut and dry. But in general, most people aren't having problems with that. So.
I mean, most of the games were pretty friendly. When I was, that, you know, like, it allows you for some flexibility of, you know, okay, that didn't really work, I kind of understood the other way, so can I just, if it's okay, if you say that, if you know that it's gonna be a like twos, it's gonna make the whole thing more complicated, you can also let it go, you know, in other ways. So there was never a bad situation or a situation that, you know, you felt you left the game feeling bad. You know, like it was okay. You know, like we learned, we improved. Maybe I won, maybe I lost, and you know, like I made a mistake. I made a friend. And that's, I think, the most important, at least for. I mean,
you make friends. I just make a lot of enemies.
Oh well.
We're not gonna discuss my gaming habits. But I've never had anybody leave a table with me, no matter how shenanigansy and out of the crazy ideas I pull off, and then them like leave and go, man, I never want to play him again, or he didn't explain things well, you know. It's always been positive. And everybody has like that was ridiculous. How could you like charge them up that way? Like that? Like, I don't know. I thought it'd be funny. It made you mad.
But the good kind of mad.
The mad when you're like, what do I do against this? and that's fun. Having a lot of players here who play different styles too. And that provides a very nice. Like I found that Hungarians. Like all people play differently, but even the people who I know play orcs all the time or a certain style, you can throw them off and like completely change their game plan. So they come in with a new army and a new mindset, and everybody's relearning and everybody's positive. Like, oh yeah, play that army, see what you can do. You know, after like, I hate that army. It's good. I won't play you again with it because it terrifies me, but it's good. And
sometimes I have this thing. When I play against Drukari, for example. It's good army, I like it, but nope, it's a no for me.
Come on. Drukari just want to play with everybody.
Yeah, they do. Kind of like how my Rubik Marines just want to give hot love to everybody. Like,
we're super friendly.
Super. With warm flames.
Like the 1,000 Suns, really?
Apparently, I feel like everybody likes the 1,000 Suns more than they like Chaos Space Marines now.
And with stuff, and then 1,000 Suns.
When you can make enough friends and have somebody meet your somebody online with you and go, wait, you know that guy? Yeah, I love him, but tell him I hate him.
I love it because I hate it. Like a good villain character in a movie.
Exactly.
But those are best players to play against. I mean, it makes you a better player because you need to, you need to think outside of the box, and that's a really good thing for the. If you want to improve, that's one side that you can work with.
I think I too learned the most from players who have armies. Like, I like it, but I don't.
Or people who, not necessarily strong armies, but armies that make you go, I don't know how you managed to do that. I don't like that you did that. How the? And you're sitting there just
makes
confused.
You think.
You're just really confused. Like, does that really work? That does work. Oh, gee.
So we can say that in general, it wasn't a big deal to find your ways in the Hungarian society.
No. I mean, there are the little complications with the language, but it was never I think major thing.
I think the hardest thing for me is sometimes I want to go into like the small points tournaments or something like that, and I'll see the post only in Hungarian, like on my phone or something like that. I work, I'm quite busy, and I don't get to translate it right away. So I'll look at it like, okay, that's cool, but there are limitations in those rules, and then sometimes the translation
Doesn't really
is
work that
a
well.
little. It mostly works, and there's just a few things that are just a little off, and that makes it a little difficult. But even then, I feel like I can email the people and I can communicate. So those are the worst times, but those are few and far between.
And if there were any new foreigner gamers here in Hungary, what would you say to them as an advice?
Come to Hammer Time.
Oh, thank you. It's so nice of you.
but in general, that's. I don't play my war games anywhere else besides our houses. Occasionally, when the COVID illnesses and family, friends, our kids and stuff like that. But if you're coming to Hungary and Budapest, plan ahead and check for games ahead of time for when you want to play. Again, Hungarians love their schedules and appointments. Make an appointment. Yes. I have never been in a place. Side note, my previous place where I lived in Ohio had a small friend group, and we would meet every Sunday, just walk into this person's house, and we'd watch movies and play war games. Every Sunday, you knew that you could show up at any point in time and come in and be able to do that. And then we would be like, hey, on that Sunday, like, hey, we're all free on Saturday, let's go war game. Or we'd hit each other up like, hey, I'm going to be free in 2 days, are you going to be free? Yeah, let's go play. Hungary is not that way. So make your schedule, make your appointment. But also, check for events. Check for if there's, you might not be able to find it on the Facebook page, but check for things like that. Like, come in and watch, ask. Say, can I take over a game? Can I do a couple turns for you? Don't feel bad. Come to the RPG days and stuff like that. That's how we actually met, was because we were starting up D&D with our friend Chris.
Yeah, and I mean, how I found the community, I knew about Hammer Time before coming here. I never had the chance or the opportunity of coming. I always wanted to, but I never could. Until one time that I said, okay, hey, I'm free, I miss the community, I miss the games, I mean, I'm just gonna walk in. I walked in, and that was it,
Yeah. Cool. You just snapped them.
So I came, I met people. I remember I was just sitting and reading some the new D&D rules, the new edition, or the current edition.
Yeah.
And people just came, they just talked, they just asked me what I was doing, and one thing led to the other, and then here I am, doing a podcast about wargame, So it's like, just come in, and then you find a community, you meet the people, you have some fun, and
plan for it to be an evening.
Evening, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Due to most of the Hungarians working and coming in, most of the time, if you're looking to play a game or do something like that, plan for it to be around the evening. But if you're international, you're like, oh man, I don't speak any Hungarian, how am I going to play these games? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If you speak English, you're golden. If you don't speak English, but you speak German, or you speak Spanish, or something like that, don't worry. Somebody here probably speaks that. And,
Yes.
and you will be able to find some kind of common language. I'm going to make a quick assumption and say that if you're playing D&D or Warhammer, most likely you have some common knowledge of English. So you will be able to pass through. You'll be able to get it and be understood and develop. If you're just visiting. If you're planning on staying here long term, you'll definitely develop. You'll be great.
Yes.
You'll have the best gaming English ever.
Yes. Indeed, these games are mostly English, so very, very, very English.
Yeah.
And so don't be afraid, just come, because we speak English. Because a lot of people write to us on our main messenger that they are from X country and they speak English, but they don't know if we speak English. So do we speak English? They can come in and stuff. Yes, you can come, of course. You can come and play and chat and everything.
Hang out, get a drink.
In the last case scenario, 6 is always hit and 1's always space, so you can make it work.
I mean, I have taught 5-year-olds how to play Kill Team. you'll be okay.
Yeah.
They don't grasp all the nuances of it, but I have taught kids to play Warhammer and Kill Team and Magic the Gathering. Do not worry about your language ability.
Yeah.
It will not hinder your gaming. You'll have fun. If you want to know how to paint, there's painting things there so you can learn. We have you'll be able to get recommendations. If you want to learn how to build or kit bash, there's opportunities for that. So don't like you said, don't be shy. Come in.
Yeah. And if you're here and we are here, say hi.
Yes, please. Stop at the table. I'll give you my dice. Be like, here, you have my turn. You ask the questions. I'll tell you the roll for 3s. Good. Now 4s. Good. Great. Let him roll.
Cool. So I think let it be our ending word. So thank you guys for coming. It was really nice.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
To chat with you. And for our viewers, we always have a special cocktail in every video. We usually talk about it at the beginning of it, but now we're talking about it at the end. Our cocktail is the fall of the sun. There is a pun in this cocktail because this is the 1st of September. Autumn is here, or fall is here if we say it in the American English language. So it's the fall of the sun. There is peach juice in it, grenadine syrup, and a little bit of black absinthe on the top. So this was our 16th video, and have a nice day, guys. Bye bye.
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 This is the moment when we taste the cocktail. You are driving.
I'm driving. So Daryl can chug mine.
The top is strong as hell.
So do the straw.
Yeah, so we should mix it. Gary said that we should mix it. It's good. It's sweet and it's not so strong. It's good.